Good afternoon. Welcome back to the B&H virtual event space. You are tuned into the next generation of Yeti microphones and Litra lights hosted by Logitech G. And for that, I'm going to welcome the men who have, it's been a while. They've forgotten about me. They haven't wanted to come on the show. I don't know what the reason is, but Dan and Pa from Logitech here to join us once again to take us into this new generation of wonderful gear for the home office, for gaming, for all of your home computing needs. Dan and Pa, what's going on, guys?
It's great to be back. It has been far too long, and no, it's not because we've been ignoring you, I promise.
Well, look, I
Well,
got
don't
Papa,
lie,
speak for
Daniel.
yourself. Stop the presses. Look, I've gotten to see you guys in person since then, so it's kind of a fair trade-off. So I'll take it. I'll take it. But some exciting new equipment here. I'm still rocking the old Litra. So you guys already updating everything for me. So I didn't even have to ask or beg or plead or anything. But look, I'm going to turn it over to you guys. You guys have a wonderful presentation for us today. Some great products to discuss. And for all of our viewers out there, 'tis the season of gift giving. So we're giving you a couple great gift giving ideas here. So feel free to ask any questions you have, and the guys will get them answered. And I'll see you in a bit for some Q&A, guys.
Awesome. All right, well, let's start off with some microphones. I know, Daniel, you are the audio expert here, but I'm going to take my best shot at talking about the new Yeti products that we have that some of you may know already, some of you may not know. You may be familiar with our other versions, maybe our more classic versions, as I like to say, but we have some new refreshes, some updates. I'm going to start off with the Yeti Orb that I have right here in front of me. Hopefully my green screen doesn't ruin this demo too much here, but it's a great new addition to our family of Yeti microphone products, very similar and reminiscent of our Snowball that we've had, which was a classic microphone that needed to be updated in my mind with something like USB Type-C, a new fun look. Snowball's a classic that a lot of people have had. A lot of pro streamers, content creators, podcasters use this, started off with using it, and then still use it to this day. And I say pro because they've started off with this product and it's grown with them, which is great. Yeah, it's a nice way to continue using the legacy of the Blue microphone. So starting off with the Orb, which is great. What is great about this is a condenser capsule microphone. It's very small. You can see there's a couple mounting points at the bottom that I'll show here, so you can mount it onto a boom arm. It also has a little stand, as you guys can see here, which is great. You can twist it around, adjust it the way you want. You have a little LED indicator at the top there once it is plugged in, USB Type-C, like I mentioned, at the back there. And you just talk into the microphone. It is directed at you here by looking at the little LED indicator. You'll see it when it's muted. It'll change colors. You can adjust it in G Hub, which I'll show you. But it's all in here. You just talk straight to it. And it's a great little microphone that is plug and play. And that is the beauty of a lot of Blue microphones, is that you don't need to get a ton of different hardware and equipment to set up. You may go to concerts, you may see other podcasters online, and there's a ton of stuff, microphones, cables, mixers, interfaces, and that's fine. But for someone who's just starting, so maybe someone who wants to become a content creator, like a podcaster, like a streamer, or someone who just wants to enhance their video presentation skills. Maybe you are starting a job where you're presenting digitally like we are doing now, Daniel and I, and Derek does regularly, and you don't want to have a small microphone. And size doesn't always matter, but having a big microphone that's dedicated job is to be a microphone instead of having a laptop microphone. No offense to laptop manufacturers out there, but those microphones are kind of just slapped on there to say they have a microphone and not to make you sound the best. And again, that may be fine for you, but for someone who's starting off, who's wanting to enhance, who needs it to really have whose job and who really needs to have a better microphone, why not buy a dedicated microphone at a great price and a great look? And USB Type-C is universal and great to kind of plug in anywhere. But like I said, great microphone, and I'm kind of rambling here, but I know it's good for the show. USB plug and play, Yeti and Blue, the brand of Yeti and the brand of Blue microphones is very, very synonymous with plug and play. The original Yeti from years ago, was the #1 selling USB microphone in the world. Maybe the Yeti Orb will take its place, or the Yeti GX that I'll be talking about a little bit later that I have with me down here, that I'm using as my main microphone. So the beauty of the Yeti Orb is that it's simple to use. You just talk right into the big mesh material right here that is already pointed at you as you place this on your desk. and then you plug it in with the USB Type-C. And what's great is that it does all the background work for you. It changes your microphones all the way to this microphone, so you don't have to go in settings. I use an example of my mother, who I love dearly. She's on calls and she wants to use her, little earbuds, her AirPods and all that stuff. And she doesn't know how to go into the settings and change that. I gave her one of my other Yeti Orbs and it plugs and plays, and she doesn't have to do anything, which is great, for my mother. So she doesn't call me as tech support, as most of us know with mothers nowadays. We are their tech support. But it is great for that. It's great for plug and play. And my mother is a good example of someone who works with kids, who's a teacher, but needs to be on calls every so often with her superiors to kind of update them. She doesn't want to have the little rinky-dink corporate microphone on that little Dell. No offense to Dell. Don't mean to call them out too specifically, but like I said, a lot of laptop manufacturers just kind of have a microphone on there just for the sake of having it. So having a Yeti Orb is great, easy plug and play. It also has RGB lighting. I don't think I mentioned that on the logo itself, not just on the little piece up there to kind of indicate that you are live or that you have the microphone there. So if you want to have some fun pop of color, I love purple, so I'd usually change my stuff up to purple. If you already have Logitech gaming gear, it will sync with LightSync already. So if you have a branding scheme for your podcast, for your live stream, you can do that and have all of your colors match the same way for your keyboard, your mouse, your microphone, which is great. It's a condenser microphone. I think I mentioned that already, Daniel, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's great. It'll pick up your voice. Thank you for the thumbs up. And as I alluded to already said, you can use G Hub to control it. So once you plug it in, it'll be recognized. You can do updates, firmware, all that fun stuff. But it's a great little easy microphone to use. You have Blue Voice as well inside of it. So if you want to go ahead and customize your voice, for those who don't know, Blue Voice is a software-focused voice controller, you could say. So you can control your pops, your de-essers, your EQs. Blue Voice allows you to do a ton of stuff and make presets. So you can have a broadcaster preset. You could have, a fun alien preset if you want to customize your voice that way and have characters for your streams. Or maybe I can change it on my mom's microphone and then not tell her and then plug it in, and she now sounds like an alien when she's trying to talk to her colleagues. But Blue Voice is very fun because it can fine tune your voice to the way you want it to sound. I always use the analogy of, I speak to my friends Daniel and Derek and I hear myself one way, but when I record, I always think, who's that guy? Who's talking right now? That's not me. So I always joke that Blue Voice is the way to customize your voice to make it sound the way you want to sound. Last but not least, I think you get Streamlabs Ultra inside of it, a little trial code. So for those of you who don't know what Streamlabs is, if you are a content creator, you might love this. It is a software that Logitech owns that allows you to stream out to a ton of different platforms, whether you're a podcaster, whether you're just recording something for offline. It is a really cool not podcast software. I use it for a podcast at one point. So I always think it's a podcast software, but it is a live streaming program that you can use to, like I said, record, stream out to a ton of different platforms, as well as create content. So you get a little trial with Ultra, which allows you to have a ton of extra features from editing to themes. So if you ever see someone online with some really cool themes like transition scenes, as well as like a cool border, you get all that through Streamlabs Ultra for free. So try it out. You get it for free for a couple months, free trial inside of a great little product. So that is it for the Yeti Orb. I'm going to move on to the Yeti GX as I place this over here. So the Yeti GX is another microphone that we have that's new, taking on the Yeti name. I'm going to show it on screen here. I also want to make sure you guys can hear me, but you can see I have it plugged in. I'm using it right now. It's got some RGB lighting on the back there, as well as on the front, or at the bottom, I should say, and at the back. I'm using it this way to talk, and I'll show you better on G Hub. I know this is not the best demo, but I wanted to use it so you guys can hear me. You have a little mute microphone there, as well as a gain knob that you can actually press to adapt. I can press the mute right now. So you couldn't hear me when I pressed it. So if you're ever in trouble, maybe mom's yelling at you about the laundry, I know my mom does, you can quickly mute yourself so your friends don't make fun of you about not doing the laundry on time, or maybe putting the laundry in the wrong spot like I normally do. But the Yeti GX, great dynamic super cardio microphone. So it has a pop screen. You're going to talk into it at the top there. You may see other podcasters using a microphone. You may be seeing Derek and his blue Sona. He's got the really cool red filter on, as well as the white version of the blue Sona. But it is a cardioid microphone, dynamic super cardioid microphone that you can actually take off the pop screen. I'm going to try and do this without making anyone's ears bleed or anything like that, but you can take it off, clean it if you want to, change it up, maybe get some cool colors like Derek has. I know the blue Sona comes with the red one. With the Yeti GX, you're not going to have any other colors. You're just going to have the one there, but I think it's a great little a feature to kind of clean if you ever, getting it dirty for whatever reason. Maybe you spill some water on your products like I do sometimes, which is not so good. But it has RGB light sync, just like the Yeti Orb, so you can customize it to your whole theme. You have that kind of broadcast quality sound. It is a dynamic microphone, which is great. So it's going to remove a lot of the background noise and only pick up your sound. You have to get really close to it to make it sound as crystal clear sometimes, but you get that broadcast quality sound, and you're getting it in a nice little all-in-one package. It is USB Type-C. It is plug and play, just like the Yeti Orb. That's the beauty of the blue Sona, the blue brand, not like the blue Sona. The blue Sona is a little bit different. But it's a nice little sleek design. You also get a little stand with it, just like the Yeti Orb, but you're also able to remove it. So if I wanted to unscrew the bottom, like I'll do now live on camera for you guys, I can actually mount it onto a boom arm. So as you guys can see, and I ramble for time as I unscrew this, you get a little thread at the bottom that you can mount onto a boom arm. And then you can just kind of toss this aside for when you need it to put it up on a desk or anything like that. But we give you options, which is really nice. You're not locked into one kind of setup for this, because everyone's set up their stations differently, whether it's for work or for play. Again, we want to make it easy for you guys to customize it the way you want. Blue Voice does the same thing with this microphone and with the Orb to kind of make it sound the way you want to sound. And speaking of Blue Voice, you still get Blue Voice, or you also get Blue Voice. I shouldn't say you still. You also get Blue Voice. You get a bunch of filters and effects to use. You can actually go ahead and play audio samples. So if you are streaming with Streamlabs, like I mentioned before, you get that little free trial. You can actually go ahead and play some cool effects and some sound bites, like an air horn, a dragon, whatever. The reason we do this is a lot of creators and streamers do a lot of fun things where they role play as they play games. So if you're not familiar with this, you may be watching someone play a Dungeons and Dragons game or a Star Wars-esque game or something like that in space or medieval, and you want to have some cool fun with it. You can actually play and role play as that character. So sometimes streamers and creators will talk in their characters' voices, or how they think their character would sound, like, "Herefore art thou, Daniel, we are ready to battle the dragon," for example. And you can play some really cool sound bites, maybe a dragon as you enter a dragon's cave, maybe some change and coins falling from the sky, whatever the case may be, as you win or as you get the treasure from the dragon. So Blue Voice and G Hub allows you to do all this all in one, and you get this extra software for free thanks to G Hub. So you buy the product, you don't have to do anything else. You don't have to pay for any of that. It's just all there. You can add your own sound bites, customize Blue Voice you want, and make a ton of different filters and effects. So really, really cool. I am rambling, Daniel. I want to hear from you after. I forgot to throw the ball to you about the Yeti Orb and see your opinion, but I'm going to continue on with the Yeti GX. The Yeti GX also has audio lock, which is really cool. So it'll adapt adapt the gain and keep it at a set limit so it doesn't clip. For those of you who don't know what clipping is, it doesn't go into the red. If you see those green bars up and down, or colored bars, I should say, in any audio software or hardware, you don't want it to kind of distort the sound, become too loud, hurt your audience's ears, essentially, to put it in layman's terms. So smart audio lock, is like a limiter that allows it to your voice to prevent it from clipping, which is really good, as well as reduces the background noise, which is really cool. So if you have like maybe a consistent fan, an AC fan in the background, you don't want that little hum and drum in the background of your audio recording, because it's going to kind of ruin it. You can cancel that out with smart audio lock, which is really great. And you just press the button and it'll set it up. It'll cycle into blue. I can show you on my microphone here, into the button there, green, good to go, blue, perfect. And now you have smart audio locked enabled. Again, you can control all this through G Hub, and I believe you also get Streamlabs Ultra as a trial option with the Yeti GX inside the packaging. So Daniel, what do you think about the Yeti Orb and Yeti GX? I forgot to throw it to you, but I'm just really excited about these products, and I think they're great because it was time for a refresh. We got some really cool features with the refresh, and it's still the classic plug and play microphones that do amazing amazing sound and are amazing quality for a great price too.
No, I definitely agree. I think the biggest thing with these products is they really hone in on our side of like the gaming products that we've been doing. And it's really nice to be able to really just showcase like the RGB side where you can sync it with your other gaming products, but also still have everything just live within the G Hub ecosystem, making it easy for gamers and streamers. You only have one application they have to go into to adjust your settings. So instead of having like, your mic app and your keyboard app and your mouse app or anything like that, all having it in one spot is really what we've been setting out to achieve with these products and kind of make it just easier for everybody. And yeah, I love Blue Voice. It's just such a it's an easy way to take a microphone that on paper you're like, oh, this doesn't cost that much money. I don't know how it's going to sound and whatever, but you can really go in and adjust the sound how you want it to sound, whether it's changing the EQ or going crazy with the alien sounds or anything like that. So I definitely agree. These are well needed and great products for anyone, whether you're just starting out or just looking for something a little more fun in your setup.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I forgot to show G Hub. Derek, if I have time, if you're allowing me to.
Of course you do. I heard alien sounds and I had to pop back on. I'm like, wait, hold
Yeah.
on. I didn't know
It's
alien
crazy.
sounds. I'm like, I heard like, de-essers and pop filters, and
Yeah.
I want the
Classic.
alien sounds.
Let me get it. Let me show you what we got here. So you guys can see I'm in G Hub here. You can see all my products that I have, my mouse, keyboard, my lights that Daniel will talk about a little bit later. But I can go and hit GX, Yeti GX. I can create already a copy, but you have a bunch of different presets. You can see I'm enabling or disabling Blue Voice. You'll see that the volume is going to go a little bit lower. With Blue Voice, it kind of enhances and brings it out. But I can go ahead and, enable or disable audio lock, increase or decrease the high pass, the EQs as well, and disable them or re-able them. I also have some signal cleanup, which is nice. So a gate, I want to get rid of some of the lower end sounds, de-esser, pop, depopper, etc. So you can go ahead and customize these. You can go and choose different ones if you want. You can create your own, share them out with the world. You can copy them. It's really kind of what you want it to be. And what I like is you have a little mic test. So I always run into the issue of not knowing how I sound and having to open Zoom or Teams or, Streamlabs and record myself and see. Kind of annoying to do when you're just trying to set up your microphone. So what's great is you can go ahead and record a little bit of an audio soundbite, hit play, it'll loop over and over. And as you change the filters, you'll hear it back through your headphones, what's going on. So you can kind of fine tune the way you want to sound. And then you don't have to do it through each program. You just know this is how I sound. And then again, you can make presets and change as you may need. You also have the sampler that I mentioned where you can play sounds like, air raid. Maybe I want to do hello, goodbye. Enchanted Meadows. It even comes in different languages. So we have Chinese, we've got Italian. If you speak Italian like Daniel, he's very fluent. You also have some other sound effects like battle horn, like I said, air horn, game over, failure, and you can play these throughout, which is kind of fun. It's a fun way to put this out into your audience, into your stream, into your podcast, whatever setup you may have. And last but not least is light sync. You can go ahead and choose like a fixed color if you want, a breathing effect, the pulsar point, which kind of spins around, but you can see it as it changes and you can adjust it the way you want. Maybe you want to do some animations like an ocean wave, which is kind of cool. And it'll turn around in the circle there and go from like that blue to beige sand colors, which is really nice. And then freestyle, you can choose all of the LEDs on the microphone itself and change them. So if I want the logo to be one color and then half of the circle to be another color, I can do all of that just in the presets in G Hub.
That's awesome. This is all the little things too that they really make the user experience. I mean, we buy products, we want the quality, but we also want the user experience. And I feel like we've been given such options nowadays where it's like we can't go back to that. Quality is just not enough. We do have to have the little bells and whistles. So I think all this stuff, and I'm very big on having the software attached with the hardware. So for me and people like me, this is huge. I didn't even realize, to be honest, the extent that I use the G Hub for my products, but it's like, I'll use it for the lights and this, and it's easy, it's cool. I can do it right there. I didn't even realize the extent that you can go, because a lot of desktop software for mics, particularly for USB mics, isn't this in depth. This is very, very, very in depth. A lot of times it's just gain, and maybe a little bit switching up the levels. But this is pretty in depth.
Yeah, it's almost like a secret sauce, you know? So you buy the product, that's the bread, and then this is the butter, and we can add things, we can remove things, we get feedback. And I like the idea of sharing, you know, your filters, sharing your setups. I know you can do this with a ton of different products from Logitech. It's not just going to be the microphones, it can be the mice, the keyboards, all that stuff. So it kind of builds a bit of a community so that people can see, oh, that's a really cool idea. I never thought I could do that with my lights. I never thought I could do that. So you have all this granularity and detail that you can customize yourself. You can share with the world or keep it private like Daniel does with his Italian lessons that he doesn't tell me about, but I'll let Daniel talk about that.
No Italian, but one thing I was going to say is, you know, one of the features that's kind of hard to showcase on something like this is actually the record function on Blue Voice, not for recording like, you know, a whole podcast like this, but you can record what those presets sound like, listen back to it, and that way you're not just like kind of shooting in the dark, like, I don't know how this is going to sound, but the world is about to find out. Basically, you can actually go in and really make sure you know what you're going to sound like before you go out into the world or anything like that.
And people like me need that, because I don't always have Danny there to give me an honest answer on, like, Danny will tell me you sound like garbage. Straight
Hey,
up.
the realist in your life, you know?
Exactly. Sometimes I want to, and you know, it's like, Pav, when you said the part about you don't have to start a Zoom session to hear, and I'm like, man, how many times am I in here in a Zoom session myself? Like, hi, I'm pretending like I'm talking how people are going. You know, it's like it saves you the trouble of doing. And again, it's the little nuances that really make the big difference.
Yeah, it's the quality of life. Because what if you don't have it? What if you're nervous? What if you don't know? Like, again, I use my mom as a good example. She doesn't know. So
Yeah.
if I tell her like, oh, hit the record button, and when you set it up, G Hub will walk you through it. It'll say, hey, you know, here's Blue Voice. What does it sound like? You can click it and turn it on and off within the kind of intro tutorial window. And then, you know, and then you kind of say, oh, either I'm going to set it up right now, or maybe like my mom, she'll forget about it and say, I'll set it up later. And then she'll ask me and I'll tell her, and she's like, oh yeah, they had that thing. And then you can, you know, use it, or if you don't use it, which is great,
Yeah.
I think.
It's a whole intuitive ecosystem. I was thinking about all this, you know, my brother, he's a perfect example. He's worked from home completely now. I didn't know this. I just found out the other day on a phone call, and I'm going up there soon. And I'm like, well, I want to look at your whole setup and see, because he's a perfect candidate for it, because he's working nonstop. He's using it. And the guy built a movie theater in his basement. So I know he's the type of person that, like, he wants to look and sound. He's all about the experience. And he's on calls, he says 90% of the day, where it's having that ecosystem where when you can go to one brand and get all of your needs, and also have software that's plug and play, or, you know, the hardware's plug and play, but the software is going to guide you through setting the whole system up, and you have that one hub to control everything. It makes it so much easier, rather than doing the hardware version of, you know, when you're putting together a computer back in your teen years, and you're like, okay, you're ordering parts from online and you don't know what's going to be a fit and what's not, and you just get all these random parts and you're putting it together. Everything's here, you know, everything's going to work in symphony with each other. And I think that's the greatest thing, having the lights, the microphones, the keyboards, the mouse, and everything sinks in. I know from being a G Hub user that the firmware updates are always, you know, I'm not even staying up to date. The firmware is more update than I am with the firmware updates. It's constantly fixing things that don't need to be fixed per se, but making the experience better. So it's one thing to have the hardware, the software, but then having the firmware updates as well. That's rounds out the experience for me.
I think that's a great segue about your relatives' theater basement and the vibe and stuff like that into our other product that we wanted to showcase, because this product is really all about the vibe, in my opinion. But that's our new light, which is the Litra Beam LX. I'm actually going to share my G Hub this time. So last year we came out with Litra Glow and Litra Beam. Basically, both of these products are really fantastic for streamers. You know, you want something instead of a key light. You know, key lights, you can see the rings in your eyes. A lot of times they're not bright enough to actually make a difference, honestly, on a lot of calls. So having products like Glow and Beam were great for giving people kind of a warmer, you know, feel to their eyes. You don't see the rings because it's a square or it's a long beam with the key light, which I'll show in a second. But the other thing too with these products is they have TrueSoft technology. And what's really great about that is it's easy on your eyes. You can have it on basically all day and you won't have headaches at the end of the day or anything like that. There's so many lights out there where it's just like a blinding white light. And by the end of the day, you're going to be seeing spots as you look around your house and kind of have eye problems later in life, things like that. These Litra products have been tested. They're good for all day. So from the front, I'm going to turn this on. I got one right here. So from the front, this is your normal Litra Beam. You can have it at a cooler temperature, you can crank it up to a warmer temperature, or you can kind of set it somewhere in the middle, basically have something that kind of sits nicely on your face. I have it pretty dim right now, so it doesn't completely blow out the camera as I'm showing this. But you can crank this up quite a bit if you want. As you can see, you know, this whole half of my face is now completely shadowed away, or you can settle it back down and kind of have it be more natural. What I really like about this part, and what you have also with the original Litra Beam, is that because it's all in G Hub, you can also assign different settings to your keyboard. So that way, if you want, you know, cooler at one point in the day but warmer at another point in the day, you can just hit one button, switch between them instead of having to come in here and drag it to the different settings. So with Litra Beam LX, none of this has changed. You still have that wonderful key light experience. What's new is the other side is now RGB. I'm going to have to sort of show it on both sides, but basically what you can see through my camera side is you have the full lights coming through here, and there's actually just 7 different zones in here. So you can basically assign different colors within here at a time and decide what you want to do. So you can either have it as a preset where it's like a color wave, like I have it right now. You have it fixed to a single color, or you can do something kind of in between. One of the ones I really like is this like screen sampler, where it'll basically detect what's on my desktop and then kind of pick colors from there. And that's really fun if you're playing like video games or something like that. You have like big bombastic lights coming off the sides of your lights with the game and things like that. You can also set up animations, which are fun. That way it kind of cycles through different things and you can adjust the speed to go really quick or have it be a little bit slower depending on the vibe that you're looking for. The one thing that's really cool though, I'm actually going to turn off the light and show it this way, but as you can kind of see, once you have this light going with the RGB, it's really cool to set it up against the wall because that's really where you're going to get the most color from and kind of set up the vibe for your stream. So you see so many streamers out there, they have all this crazy lighting in the background, and half of that is having, you know, a nice camera and kind of a nice key light on your face so that you look good. But the other half of it is really kind of the RGB things that everyone's so into these days. And it's so easy now with G Hub to just set up different things. And again, with Light Sync, you can have it on your mouse, keyboard, now microphone and light all at the same time. I'll even hold it closer so you can really kind of see it. But, you know, to me, it's really all about setting up the environment that you're going to be in at the same time. So it's one of those products where it's functional in the front. You know, you got the key light, brings in a nice streaming environment, but it's kind of got that fun side on the back. You know, you've got the RGB, you've got some new personality going. And I think, you know, for something like a movie theater or something like that, it's really cool to set up some ambiance to the room and not just have it all be, you know, blank white walls like I usually have here and things like that. But I'm actually going to pass it back to Pav. What's your kind of favorite thing about the Litra Beam LX?
That it's work in the front and party in the back. It's like a mullet. I love it. I love it for that. I think in tune with what I was saying about your G Hub Light Sync capabilities is that you can set up your brand the way you want. You can set up for when you're working. So you have your brand, maybe it's a purple color like myself, which I love. Set that up so that when I'm on stream, doing my live stream, doing my podcast, whatever it may be, I have it's like kind of set up for work. And then when I'm playing games, I can do screen sampler and say, hey, when playing GTA or Red Dead or something, all the colors will match up the way I like. And so that I get that extra ambiance, kind of like what they do with TVs now. They put the lighting in the back. So when you're watching TV or movie theater setups, like Derek, you were saying, you have that control. So I like that. It's very powerful and that it can be more than just one thing. It can be work and party like a mullet. So it's a mullet is what I'm saying.
And I'll tell you, as somebody who uses, I don't game. But even when I'm not on here doing this, when I'm on meetings with, you know, brand speakers, whoever, work meetings, I can't tell you how many times the meeting starts with, "Oh my gosh, what is your setup? Like, what do you have going? Like, it looks awesome. You sound great." People notice it. And in a world where now a lot more people are working from home, you do when you get on a call with somebody and like, wow, this person has like a full work studio put together. You're going to take them a little more seriously. They're taking their job seriously, and that's always been one of the things that I've wanted to drive home with my approach to it. Is look, I want to look good. I want to sound good. Or, look great, sound great. Really, good isn't enough anymore with all the technology we have at our fingertips. And it's that whole experience where I want to be in my zone. This is like my little man cave that I have here, and the lights, the colors, all this stuff just kind of lend to it. One of the things that I've used my Litra beams for, and I'm excited to get my hands on the new ones with the RGB, but is on camera. Like they're accent lights that you can have on camera. They look good, and you can put it in the background. I've put them behind me, and you just kind of have like it's a nice light source. It looks nice. It has that look. I think it's something that has come along recently, is like the lightsaber look that a lot of people are using now. You have various products out there for lighting that photographers are using, not only for lighting, but in video applications now, of having, because LED lights are great for the shutter speeds that you're using with video, you have the dimmers. They can go really dim and you still get that effect. It has a cool on camera thing, and that's something that I'm using a single Litra beam right here as my key light. But I'll take one and I'll throw it behind me, or take both of these and put them behind me, just to have like a cool on camera accent look. So I'm excited to get the colors in there, and you really, that's when you start piecing together your lighting setup a little at a time, and you can put a color accent here, color accent there, and you get that really cool cinematic look to it.
Yeah, the versatility is really what's remarkable about this product. Is so often, even to your point, you'll have one key light and one RGB light and one other thing, and you'll have like all these different products. With this product, you've got it both in one. And it's especially great when you do have a desk like up against the wall and can have that RGB side like really shine off the wall. On my gaming setup, I have it literally against the wall, and just the whole wall turns into whatever color I've got it going. And it's such a cool environment to be in, while also still having the versatility of, okay, I'm going to go on camera. Here's my key light. We're good to go. So there really isn't a lot of other products out there that give you both. There's some where I'll give you one or the other, like you can switch between them. And then there's others that are only key lights or only RGB lights. This is basically it for both in one at the same time. So to me, that's like such a cool feature of this product, and really bringing it together with the whole ecosystem of having all your colors either match, or if you want to be crazy and just run them all wild, you can do that too.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to go back to the mic for a second, because Pav, if you hold the mic up, one of the great things that is you have that range where you can pull the mic off and have it 1.5 feet away and still have clean sound. You're not going to have like that bassier, deeper, more rich podcast kind of sound. But if you were to take that mic up like right there and talk into it, it's like you have that radio. You get the radio quality.
Welcome back to Smooth Jazz at 3 a.m. with Pav.
Exactly. So it's nice to be able to have the options there of, not only just desktop or however you want to mount it, if you want to go on a mic arm, but being able to push it back a little further, because some mics, they lose that panache when you bring them away. If you're not talking right up on, and I'm sitting here with my beard scratching on the foam, it doesn't have that kick. But then as you get further, some mics are able to hold weight. It just gives you a different kind of sound, but both on the professional side of things.
Yeah, having a dedicated microphone is always better in my mind. And talking about, if you're doing a job or having a situation where your look matters, like people call you out and say, wow, your setup is so great, they take you more seriously, and if you are in a creative field and you're trying to sell your services, let's say maybe to a client, maybe you're going to a shoot somewhere else. I think of my dad proposing to shoot weddings for people and that he never knew, never met. And if he were to do it and wanting to look good and showing, hey, I'm going to take my job seriously, I take this video look seriously as well, and I'm serious about what I'm going to do for you. You're selling yourself, right? So having that great quality microphone, having the lights that can do multiple things, having it be, a key light for you, a fun light. I remember doing some shots with my sister as a former photographer. I mean, still a photographer, but haven't shot in a while. And having bought something on Amazon that was like the lightsaber RGB light to kind of do in a pitch black dark room, some really cool, fun lighting. And thinking now, I'm like, oh, I could have just bought one product, have it set up as my key light for when I'm doing my streams, when I'm doing my Zoom meetings, and then taking it off and saying, hey, now I can just plug it in and use the RGB lighting and have fun with it and do some cool creative, more of a creative endeavor. So like Daniel said, it's a 2-in-1.
Yeah, definitely. And for me, I'm a big ecosystem person. I like to be bought into an ecosystem. I like when I can go one place, especially a trusted place. You guys have great products. I'm saying this because I use them, and I have used them, and I think they're outstanding products, that they function well, they're well made, they work well together. I mean, I love stuff that I can go to one hub, control everything, and have things that play well together. And Danny did drop the link to the Logitech landing page. You guys have one of the best landing pages I've ever been. It's like so much right there. You guys, you can literally go on the B&H website and click Logitech in the search bar, and it gives you everything. And it has them broken up into sections. It's beautiful. We dropped a link there. We made it easy for you guys to click on. But if you're trying to give, or if you just want to put something together for yourself, take a little pride in your home setup, put out the best setup possible, and you guys make it really easy. I know we are going to have you guys on a couple more times introducing some of the products. You guys have been on a roll lately with dropping new products. You're updating stuff, you're introducing new stuff, you're making stuff better. So we're going to have you back on a couple times over the next couple months to introduce some of these new products to us. So I'm going to leave it open right now. If you guys do have any questions on any of these products or any Logitech products, feel free to get them in. But what are you guys most excited about out of all the stuff you've released recently?
I think for me, having that Yeti GX, especially as a super cardioid mic, is really something we've been missing for a long time. One of the common complaints of some of our older USB microphones was that because it was a wider cardioid pattern, yeah, you'd have it up in front of you, but if your mom came in from the back and started talking, that's being picked up right away. There's nothing you can do about it. And that was just kind of the reality of a standard cardioid microphone. But kind of to your point earlier about the mic doesn't have to be right up against you, it can be a little further, and having that super cardioid pattern, to me, is such a game changer, because you really couldn't do anything about that before. It's almost like the Blue Sona you and I are actually both talking into right now. It's having that noise rejection on the side is so key for streaming, for podcasting, for anything. You look at basically any video podcast in the world right now, and they're all using super cardioid microphones. That's just the way it goes, right? You don't want to have other people's voices coming in, and to have that in a USB mic it's such a killer feature of that mic. So I think for me, even though I showed off the Litra Beam LX and I am very excited about it, to me, the Yeti GX is really the star of the three new products for sure.
I disagree, Daniel.
I think wow,
it's the Litra Beam. I don't know if you mentioned this, but it plugs into a power outlet now, right? It needs that juice. So I think, as someone who's a photographer, I think it's going to be great for photographers who want to have, like you said, all-in-one kind of light, something that can be fun. Like I said, party in the back, business in the front. I think it's very versatile. I can see a lot of people setting up it at your station, your desk, and then taking it off and then using it as like an extra light, as Daniel's showing. Thank you. I don't know if you mentioned that, but I wanted to call it out. So I think it's great. I think it's going to be great. It uses true soft technology as well, which is nice and easy on the eye. So you can use it all day for those calls. And then, like I said, party when you need to with the RGB. So as much as I love that the Yeti GX and that I was demoing it today, I disagree, Daniel. I think it's a Litra Beam.
That's a really good call out about.
I'm gonna have to split it down the middle, because you guys both, until you've had a noisy environment, I think everybody thinks you buy a professional mic and it automatically cancels everything out. And no, it's not the case. I'm sitting here. I love that I can sit here and have my window open, literally 4 feet to my right, and have a 6-year-old who's home sick running around, not exactly sick, 6 feet to my left. And, you know, he's got the TV on and this and that. And I can sit here and do a broadcast quality program and not have to worry about the outside noise. So introducing that supercardioid pattern on the Yeti is huge, because now you're going to have people who don't have to invest a crazy amount of money to go up into, we know how expensive mics can get. And you also don't have to worry about, oh, I'm in an apartment in a city, or I have mom yelling about meatloaf in the background. You don't have to worry about all that. But then to Pav's point, that's a huge, huge, huge thing, because USB space is at a premium nowadays, especially if you're a user of a particular computer brand, where it's like, okay, you can have like, you got to pick one. You can either have like 2 USB or like, no, that's it. Yeah. You don't get options. So you can only have so many hubs and you only have so much space. So I always love the option, at least, to plug into an external power source. It's always good. I like options. So I'm going to split it down the center there and say these are both for different reasons. Really great. Really great. I was going to say inventions. Wow. We're going the invention route today. These are really great upgrades to the products.
Yeah. I mean, even to your point right there, the whole time I was showing off Litra Beam LX, I had it connected over Bluetooth, no USB at all, either from the light or the computer or anything. It was all Bluetooth connection. You can connect it via USB and still have it, you know, kind of connected that way if you want a more sturdy connection, not wireless, things like that. But I love being able to plug it in a wall outlet, you know, way over there, connect it over Bluetooth, and then you don't have to touch it at all. You can still use G Hub. You can still do all the shortcuts, things like that. So to me, like, it just builds into the versatility again of these products, of just thinking through all the situations that they could be in.
Definitely. Bluetooth, anything that goes Bluetooth for me is automatically a big win right there. It's really, like you said, versatility, I think, is the name of the game, where you want to be able to mix and match and have as many options at your fingertips for powering, for connecting, for controlling while you are connected. So awesome. Every time you guys come on, it's like I get super excited. I get like, oh man, I want to do more. I got to do more with this space here. What am I not doing? What am I missing out on?
Just open up your wallet, Derek, you know.
Exactly. This program is bad. It's bad for finances. No, I mean, that's another great thing is these products. You're not spending an arm and a leg. It's great quality, great price point. If you guys don't believe me, again, go click on that link there that we dropped for the Logitech landing page on the B&H website, and you'll see. I mean, I think it's great that we're at a place in technology where you can get professional products at what used to be consumer prices, where it's like you can limp in. No, but you don't have to go onto these third-party websites. You don't have to get products that are, you don't know how they're going to function out of the box, or you don't know really even what product you're getting. Because for me, I gotta have products that I know are going to work. When you're doing a professional program, you can't take a chance that something's going to go out, or that something, you're going to fry a circuit from plugging in a light that you bought from the outer reaches of the internet. Not gonna say any names there, but yeah, we all know. If you know. But want to thank you guys again. It looks like we covered all the questions. We covered all the grid. Did we leave any stones unturned?
I don't think so. I was going to say there was one question in the chat about kind of using the Yeti X or the Yeti Orb with consoles. Just as a PSA, they do work with PlayStation. It will detect it as a microphone. You won't be able to use G Hub or anything like that, but you still can kind of plug and play it that way. Unfortunately, on the Xbox side, it won't detect it. So if you're an Xbox gamer, I'd recommend, using your phone or something like that if you want to have a different microphone, plug it in that way, things like that. But yeah, thanks for the question. It's always good to get some feedback from the community.
Definitely. And who knows down the road? I mean, without people getting questions in, that's why brands are able to make updates and continuously make updates, whether it's through new hardware or new firmware, because brands want to know the people who are out there using the products, what they need out of it. And sometimes certain things get in the way, but it is nice to see when things are addressed, whether a firmware update or making a product adjustment altogether. So thank you guys for getting your questions into our viewers out there, and to Dan and Pav. It's great to see you guys back. You always bring a ton of great information with great products. So we're going to be looking forward to seeing you guys next time. A huge thank you also to the entire Logitech G team for putting out outstanding products and always coming here to share them with us. So a huge thank you to everybody involved in making this happen, to all of our viewers out there. Thank you for tuning in. Another rendition of the B&H virtual event space now in the books. Catch y'all next time.